Previously on Handbook for Mortals. You want to go camping with the crew?
Yeah! A few days later, I joined everyone on their camping trip.
Okay, fine. We're at a camping trip now. So we open up with Sherry procrastinating on hitching up her tent in favor of swimming at the lake. She's out there till dark and has a losing battle with said tent. Riley apparates behind her and asks if she needs help. She declines and he's goes away as fast as he came. Next, she monologues about the stars. If I may. I'd begun to get used to being in Las Vegas, where it's actually hard to see the stars because of the bright lights that are everywhere. Apparently, moonlight and large glittery casino lights drown out all but the brightest stars. Yeah, bitch, it's called light pollution. You learn that shit in school. She stares at her co-workers chillin' and briefly wishes that she had a boyfriend, even though she's #too independent for you. Don't worry, sweetheart. Your male servants will prostrate themselves before you soon enough. Sherry then checks if the coast is clear and wiggles her hands around to magic her tent up. So, 7 chapters in, and Sherry's using her magic for only the 3rd time. 2.5 since her premonitions are uncontrollable. 3.5 if we're gonna include Italic's vision. But less than 5. Still though, finally! She claims she rarely uses her magic for mundane things, but come on! I'd be infinitely more interested in a character who'd constantly use her magic abilities on just the dumbest shit, all while still trying to keep it a secret. For God's sakes, this book is marketed to be magical. Skye Turner assures us this book is magical, and I wholeheartedly trust her. Why would she lie to us? After surviving the arduous battle with her tent, Sherry's attention drifts back to the crew chillin' by the fire. She sees Jackson and Zeb sitting together and notes that the warm glow of the fire reflected off of Jackson's face, making him look almost angelic. For a split second, though, the glow off of Zeb's face somehow made him look a tad evil. Subtle. Or a blatant red herring. 'Tis a toss-up. Jackson notices Sherry, invites her over to sit with them, and offers her a beer. Zeb glares at her, gives her the cold shoulder, and then excuses himself. Sherry's all, "Does he not like basking in my presence?" Jackson scoots in real close, cause that guy's got a penchant for defying personal space. Give him some time to warm up to you, baby. Besides that, are you an outdoorsy type? That tent sure was slaying your booty, She tells us that, yeah, to an extent, as witches tend to spend a lot of time outside. And, okay? What exactly is the mythos of witchcraft in your world here, Sarem? I think there was an attempt to divulge some of it in the Great Exposition Dumps of Chapter 0. But that's such a cluttered mess, I'm still kinda unsure. Nor do I really want to backtrack and try and look. Is it an attempt at Wicca pagan lore? Or are we looking at, Halloween Town logic?
Well, how does magic make it go? Magic is really very simple. All you have to do is want something, and then let yourself have it.
Or both? Anyway, Sherry responds with, "Yeah, it's nice to see something other than the inside of the theater," and he's all sick of the theater already? Can't be sick of something I haven't seen yet, my boy. Jackson gets her to yap about her home in the good old South with the biscuits and gravy, sweet tea, and slow drawl. Gee, I'm surprised she doesn't include the overabundance of Jesus, blatant racism, and an occasional cousin nuzzler or two while she's at it. And yet, we learn nothing about him. Sherry's fruit fly level attention span drifts, and she notices Max saunter off with a pout to go brood against some tree. Tad joins him for a hot second to chat about something, then leaves. The plot fairy poofs in a character revolving door to churn out some NPC to distract Jackson and give Sherry an excuse to go to Mac. And this brings me to today's segment of Overspeak of the Week, where Sherry goes ham word dumping on Mac's casual ensemble. I'm serious. Prepare your anuses. Mac had on a slightly puffy jacket with the collar turned up, and he looked rather Abercrombie and Fitch, leaned up against the tree. I realized that this was the first time I had seen him out of his work attire. His standard black Dickies and a black button-down, his show blacks or his occasional Carhartts, if he was doing something more mechanical that day. Instead, he was wearing fitted Levi jeans with the bottoms of the legs slightly rolled up and a long-sleeve red and blue and yellow lined plaid shirt. Earlier in the day, I had noticed that he had the plaid shirt unbuttoned, showing a white ribbed fitted sleeveless shirt underneath. In the South, those types of white undershirts are often called wife beaters. It's a horrible name for anything really, but especially a shirt. Though in every movie I've ever seen, the redneck wife beater wears one, and without a doubt you call it that and people instantly know what kind of shirt you're speaking about. In the cool night air, the long sleeves that had been rolled up had come down and he had buttoned up the shirt, covering up the undershirt. The black boots he always wore at work had been replaced with the much more rugged-looking brown ones that went higher up the ankle, and he had wrapped his laces around the top. It occurred to me in that moment that I liked his style a lot. He looked somewhat like a hipster, but a hipster that could actually hunt and do other manly things most hipsters don't know how to do. A manly hipster without a beard, though, thankfully. I was not a fan of beards, and I had come to realize that I liked it most when Mac had just shaved, though in the light of the fire he appeared to have a 5 o'clock shadow, and that was also nice. A little credit, at least this is more stream of consciousness. Homegirl can write a dissertation on the history of the wife beater, but can't tell me the logistics of her magical world or powers. I don't know where I'd be if I went on my life never knowing how Mac had his sleeves rolled up earlier but the chilly night air made him need to roll them back down, or how his brown boots went above the ankle and he had to wrap the laces above the top. You know, this kind of stuff's like a spice, Sarem. You gotta sprinkle that shit a little at a time here and there. You don't dump the whole bottle's worth at once, you knob. So he gibbers and she jabbers, and funny enough, the word count for their exchange is less than when Sarem went all Tolkien on Mac's appearance. Another NPC coincidentally comes out the revolving door to pull Mac away, only to have Sophia and Human Mel strut out. The two flank her and Sophia's all, "Nice try, honey. Mac doesn't date performers, so you're wasting your time flirting with him." And we all know Mac will never make an exception for Sherry. This whole encounter is just them going back and forth with, "You like him? Nuh-uh, uh-huh." And I don't care. Sherry goes in for the verbal kill saying, "Well, as we say in the South, bless your hearts, and stopping you right there, sweetheart." Now, for the most part, I let your Southern stereotyping slide, but here's where I draw the line. As a fellow Southerner, even I know that there's a kind of je ne sais quoi to the bless your heart insult. You don't just throw that mic down and let it fizzle out. No, that line is a vocal coup de grace. It's for when your enemy has delivered their grand monologue, right when they think they have you bruised and beaten. But then you rise back onto your feet, tilt your nose up, you gaze down at them with complete patronizing condescension. That's a fucking double whammy. And you unleash that bless your heart in true Southern passive-aggressive form. Let it drip from your lips like sweet honey. And when you can see the shocked whites in your foe's eyes, That's when you Mortal Kombat that motherfucker and rip their spine out through their mouth. Southerners do not fuck around with their bless your heart. It is an art form. There is no coming back from that. But sure, Sherry. Be proud of your flaccid attempt at being bold. Zayd 1, stupid girls 0, as you say. The so-called stupid girls are plucked. They're like, you think you're hotter than us? And Sherry's all, not outside, but inside? There's a song called Ugly Girl that I swear is about you. I'll play it for you sometime. Sick burn. Then she tells us, sometimes I wished I could be the star in my own movie, so at moments like that, the song I was thinking of, in this case by the band 100 Monkeys, could start playing. Girl! You're the star of the book! You've acknowledged that you're narrating a book at the very beginning! You know you're the omniscient star! Why say dumb shit like this? Dumb! Dumb, dumb, dumb! And we all know when this scene happens in the movie Sarem's still totally making, this exact thing is going to happen. Also, way to name drop Jackson Milbone's IRL band that you used to manage there, Sarem. Good job. So Sherry gets her last word in, as she does, and sachets away. There's a scene break back into Italic's vision with Sophia and Human Mel. We find out that Human Mel's pretty much the true surrogate for us, in that she doesn't actually give a flying fuck about any of this, and doesn't understand why Sophia does. We learn Sophia's motivation is to remain the true star, and views Sherry as a threat. Rightfully so, to be honest. I'd be surprised if Sherry doesn't usurp Sophia. This is the author's fantasy where she gets everything she wants, and Sarem lives vicariously through her after all. So Sophia looks over and notices Jackson leaning against his own tree. He has witnessed everything, and he says, if it matters, I don't agree with her. I think she's much hotter on the outside as well as the inside. Oh, cha-cha-cha-cha. He tips his beer fedora, lolls, and leaves. Sophia, dear, you deserve so much better than this shit. End of chapter. Okay, so this was the Hierophant all over again. A needlessly over-padded chapter that doesn't need to exist. The very small nuggets of necessary character details don't need to be conveyed this way. We don't need the camping backdrop. It'd make no significant difference if this chapter took place anywhere else. Why are we anywhere else? This is fucking Las Vegas. Take advantage of this setting. And show me some goddamn performances already. This is not the kind of literary blue balling I signed up for. God! Ugh.